Well, the story today is that Clive Palmer's had a meeting with Malcolm Turnbull last night, and we've had the usual circus with Clive saying it was just a gathering, that there wasn't discussions about the budget, which is rubbish. And on a superficial level, people might say, why is this being courted? Why is this person being courted? Why is he being pandered to? It's because he controls 4 votes in the Senate, and those votes will determine what happens to the carbon tax, what happens to the mining tax, what happens to a whole range of things in the budget.
Well, what happens to the future of the country over not just
That's
the course
right.
of the next 3 years, but probably
That's
well
right.
out till 2020. And the other thing about it is that this dinner that they've arrived at the Duck restaurant in Canberra was also attended by the head of Treasury.
Martin Parkinson.
Now, that's not a catch-up among old friends. They're clearly having a discussion about what they can push through and what they can't. And there is an obligation for these guys to stop playing games and actually tell the Australian public who elected all of these people what they're up to, what's likely to get through and what won't. Because at the moment, all we've had is a succession of grandstanding, Clive arriving one day in his Rolls Royce, arriving in a Bentley the next morning. We're still waiting to see if he actually arrives in a very small Mini Minor or a Volkswagen, so he can enter the Guinness Book of Records. But there's an obligation on their part, don't you think, to tell us what are they going to push through, what won't get through, and overall, Clive Palmer, who controls the future of Australia in the Senate, what does he want from this process? We have no idea yet what Clive Palmer really stands for and what he's trying to extract from the process.
Well, to read the tea leaves, the smarter and more intelligent analysts of all this, and generally they're people that worked in the Howard government in strategy, have said what Tony Abbott needs to do is to find someone who can become Clive Palmer's best friend and try and massage Clive and get him into the if not in the tents, at least cooperating. Now you think it through. Who is Clive Palmer going to be impressed with? Well, if it's a backbencher, he's going to go, well, I don't want to know. So Malcolm Turnbull has the status and the capacity to sit down with Clive Palmer. So we know now that it was Malcolm that texted Clive Palmer to get him to come to the restaurant. What's happened is a reporter, just one reporter, decided to follow Clive Palmer to the restaurant. If that reporter hadn't done that, no one would know this meeting had been had happened. So that one reporter's blown the whistle on it. Plainly, I think, reading the tea leaves, they've said to Malcolm, look, can you try and see what this bloke wants? Try and see what sort of parameters we can have with this guy in terms of our legislation, and at the very least, just try and develop a relationship with him. Now the whistle's been blown on it.
So it's been a week of political defections over in South Australia. The former Liberal leader has defected across to the minority Labor government and has taken on 3 ministries. Do you reckon that's...
What do you say? I mean, what could work there?
It could be a press conference later today and Clive walks out and says the Australian people have decided to leave the Palmer United Party and I'm joining the coalition government.
The coalition, and what, in return for a ministry or
a Minister for Business?
Minister
for Big Business.
Minister for Big Business. It could work the other way. Malcolm Turnbull could come out and say, ladies and gentlemen, I've decided to join the Palmer United Party. It could be
I like that idea.
It could be the Palmer Turnbull Party or the Turnbull Palmer Party.
I like it.
That's a better one. Well, anything's possible these days.